When a little girl can't depend on her father to both provide for the family and to be a steadying, loving presence in her life.
I have a Roth IRA and every benefit imaginable for me and my children on my dime.
She erroneously concludes that she can never depend on any man.
4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, amazing credit. I make over 6 figures.
The problem is that as children, we don't have the experience or the objectivity to see that this conclusion is immature. Just because one's father couldn't be depended on doesn't mean no man can. Yet that is so often the takeaway.
Do better.
So we're about 6 decades deep in a new era that we've never seen before in mankind, where now we have young women who have their own provisioning. They can make their own money. They can have children without getting married. They can get tons of attention on social media. And we're living in a society where young women simply don't need men anymore. And so this has created a lurch for men. And so there's a response creating, the red pill community and passport bros. But one of the comments I ran into was talking about how aren't these all the same and aren't you kind of just rebranding? And in a way, that comment is correct. But I think what's important is that all of these are answers to a bigger problem that we're still trying to get our hands on and trying to solve. So today I want to hash that out a little bit with the help of Susan Venker. So earlier in the video, Susan was talking about the difficulty for young girls who didn't grow up with their fathers and how it's difficult for them to trust and rely on a man in a relationship. And she continues.
And then you add to this experience a culture steeped in feminism, which at its core is a war with men. And you get a perfect recipe for a nation full of women who cannot cede control. Women are no longer the kinder and gentler sex. Instead, they have their guard up and they become their own providers and protectors. Now, we've seen the creation of the different groups, the MGTOW, you have the red pill, you have passport bros. These are all responses to the same issue, is that the environment is different and therefore, women have changed. And so how do you deal with that change? We're still trying to figure it out because it's an unprecedented issue for men to be so many men in our, or late 30s, mid 30s, even in the 40s. And you're thinking, how do I start a family properly when you have young women who say, I don't need a man to start a family. I can start a family myself. And it has created the situation we have right now. These women think that they're warding off pain or disaster by being in charge all of the time. In fact, they're keeping lasting love at bay. Because men aren't attracted to masculine energy. What they want is the feminine.
That's right. So one of the things that I think has happened is like you think about two magnets and you put the south end both to each other, they're going to repel each other. And I think part of the passport bros surprise is that I think a lot of people didn't really believe that a lot of young black men were that serious. But there's something in our DNA that's so strong that if I'm in an environment where I'm not valued, I'm not important, and women see no need for me, then I have to relocate. After decades of learn game, you get better, you got to get stronger, all of that stuff. Part of the passport bros things is maybe it's the environment that's the issue, as opposed to if you look at, the RP stuff, it says you need to get better, get stronger, make more money. But in the end of the day, if you're looking around in an environment where young women who are historically of marriage age simply don't want to get married and they don't need men, then what's the point of getting better? You're getting better at what point, at what cost? What is the benefit of it?
Women have a natural feminine energy that when it's used well works wonders on men in marriage. It can reduce the most powerful man in the world to mere jellyfish. Too many women give up on love before putting this power to use. And it's just sitting there for the taking.
Now, what is the starting point of all of this? The RP and the go your own way and the passport bros is that we are in a society where there's just a surplus of masculine energy. Everyone is, I make money, I got this, I can do it by myself, I'm strong, I'm independent. And if you're around so much of that, you have, what are your choices? You can choose the RP method, and you can have a roster. You can choose the MGTOW method and just don't deal with anyone. You can choose the passport bro method and go overseas and look for it. But all of these are trying to solve the same issue, is that we're not finding the type of young ladies that would have been our great grandmother type or our mother's type, because everyone's trying to be men now. And you have a society of everyone trying to be men. We're all trying to solve the same problem.
Too many women give up on love before putting this power to use. And it's just sitting there for the taking. Not using it is like flushing $1 million down the toilet. Men literally feed off the energy you provide. So which kind are you supplying?
And there it is. If we're going to be in societies that are going to modernize, and with modernization comes women who are more aggressive and masculine and mimicking men, then it's not really going to matter if you're MGTOW, if you're red pill, if you're passport bro. I think even for passport bros, men are going to have to understand sooner or later this issue is going to come to your doorstep in the form of, your wife or your daughter, your granddaughter, or something. And so this is a issue that it doesn't really matter what classification you are. That's why I wanted to say that who's a MGDOW, who's a red pill, who's a passport bro, it doesn't really matter. We're all confronting the same issue. We're going to sooner or later be in countries where younger women don't need men for provisioning and leadership. So then what? If your goal as a young man is not going to be to start a family and take care of a family, then you're going to start seeing the same issue in other countries. And so I don't think it's important to label who is what. I think what's important is to focus on the true issue, and it's that as countries modernize, young women need men less and less in their younger years. Now, as they get older, we see what happens when older women never have those close relationships. Some women can deal with it, but I think the majority of women is very difficult for them. As young women, they don't need these relationships. Then men have to find their purpose in other places. And this is a rotating conversation that's evolving. And so I think the best thing we could do is keep an open mind and say, it doesn't matter if you are MGTOW, if you're red pill, if you're passport bro, whichever. We're all trying to find the same answer to the same question. How do I find a fit, feminine, friendly woman to build a family with? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.